City of Sierra Vista City Council meeting for November 18th, 2021. I'll call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, may we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Rick Mueller.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Rachel Gray.
Present.
Councilmember William Benning.
Present.
Councilmember Gregory Johnson.
Present.
Councilmember Angelica Landry.
Present.
Councilmember Mark Rodriguez.
Present.
Councilmember Carolyn Humphrey.
Present.
Mr. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Mrs. Adams. Tonight we'll start as we always start with the invocation and the pledge. The invocation tonight will be led by Dr. Landry, immediately followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Mr. Benning. Please stand.
Let us bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we come before you today. Thank you for this beautiful day that we have. Thank you for allowing us to gather together here. Thank you for all of our freedoms that we have. Please bless our city and bless those throughout our city. And please guide us in making decisions. In your Son's name, Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Dr. Landry and Councilman Benning. We now go to item 1, acceptance of the agenda. Councilman Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that the agenda for the regular city council meeting of today, November 18th, 2021, be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments, corrections, additions, deletions to the agenda? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you very much. We now go to the city manager's report. Mr. Patuchik.
Thank you, Mayor Mueller, members of council. A reminder that the regular council work session and meeting scheduled for next week is canceled, obviously, because of the Thanksgiving holiday. Because of Thanksgiving, the refuse services will move up a day, so the Monday, Thursday pickup will be Monday, Wednesday, and then the Tuesday, Friday will continue on as normal, so it's just the Monday, Thursday pickup that's affected. Also, our next regularly scheduled work session then will be on December 7th at 3 p.m. here in the council chambers. And then the final meeting of the calendar year will be on the 9th of December at 5 p.m. also here in the council chambers. A few projects today. This morning we had a CCOM JPA board meeting. The primary discussion point was, again, staffing, which is reaching definite critical levels. So we discussed a number of contingency options, and we appreciate especially those in the fire department that have stepped up to get trained to help out down there. So it's kind of an all-hands-on-deck situation, but I think we've got a pretty good handle on what we need to do, and we're proceeding. Hiring, of course, proceeds, but again, the process is slow, and we're not the only ones looking for dispatchers out there, so it's a tough situation. We also approved looking at our pay scales and raising them up based on state averages as well. So you may see that then reflected in next year's budget. Also, the airport project to take down Mount Dooley is ongoing, and that's going to take a little while. Looking at February of 2022, the airport sign is under construction, about 75% complete. So hopefully we'll see that in the next couple of weeks. Then after that, and that will certainly be an improvement out there as well. EMS substation is ongoing and is scheduled for April 2022. Our police vehicles are in, but the parts for the outfitter are sitting on boats outside of Long Beach. So so it's going to be a little while until until that's done. But at least they're on their way. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. And just on behalf of the staff, I want to wish everybody in Sierra Vista a happy and safe Thanksgiving holiday next week. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Patuchik. Any questions for Mr. Patuchik on his report?
I
Yes,
just
sir.
have one on, with respect to the CCOM issue. I'm very concerned about that, and I know that Brian and his crew stepped up, as you said, but how many people do we have in the pipeline currently?
Really, right now, we only have one that looks like we'll be hiring. We're down to 8 full-time dispatchers, and we have one probably going out on maternity leave next month. So we have 3 firefighters already trained, and I've authorized them to spend most of their time at CCOM, so the chief is working with me on that. We have 3 more in training as well, and we have some other staff that are training people like Jen Osborne, who's also a very good dispatcher, besides being a budget officer. So we have a number there. I'd like to see some help from some of our partners in the sheriff's office, and Fry Fire would be helpful in this endeavor as well. We're also working on bringing in the National Guard. They are deployed here for another year, and we have some bureaucratic hoops to go through with them, but they think they can make up to 10 people available to us next year. So we have a number of different ways that we're trying to pursue this problem.
Thank you, Chuck, for the update. Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Patuchik on his report?
I have
Yes,
one.
ma'am.
Thank you, Chuck. I have a question about, there was a project canceled, the roof replacements, and what happened with that?
Well, actually, I think we found out it wasn't as bad as we thought, so we're going to save some money. I think
The
Sharon
pavilion,
can probably give you the details better than I can, so.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, Councilwoman Humphrey, we're taking another look at those projects based on some feedback from the contractors. That's why we bring them in and have them take a look. But based on some feedback, we're taking another look at those and what we really need to do on those projects. But it will be coming back out in some form.
Yeah, just maybe not as extensive as we originally thought.
Thank you.
That's good news then. Okay. Anything else from Mr. Patuchik? All right, then, seeing nothing, we'll move on to item 2 is the consent agenda. Dr. Landry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that the consent agenda consisting of the regular city council meeting minutes of October 28th, 2021, resolution 2021-074, acceptance of sewer easements for sewer line extension to Veritas Christian Community School, and resolution 2021-075, dedicating public right-of-way at 7th Street and Buffalo Soldier Trail to be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. This was discussed at the work session pretty extensively. Are there any questions? Comments? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you very much. We need to now go on to public hearing items. Item number 3, Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that resolution 2021-076, a Series 9 liquor license application for an interim permit owner transfer, limited liability company type of ownership for Young G. Kim on behalf of Pinnacle Enterprise LLC, DBA Vista Beverage House, located at 999 East Fry Boulevard, Suite 101, Sierra Vista, Arizona, be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Since this is a public hearing item, I'll open the meeting to the public. Is there anybody that wishes to address us on this item? Seeing none, I have received no requests in writing. I'll close the item to the public. Any questions or discussion? Excuse me, I'll get way ahead of myself. Ms. Adams,
I was gonna say, if you don't need a
maybe give us
briefing,
a staff report, please.
I'm good.
Do her job.
Mayor Mueller, members of council, as moved by Councilmember Rodriguez, this is a transfer of a Series 9 liquor license for the Vista Beverage House. The notice of this public hearing, as required by law, was posted on the premise, and no comments, pro or con, have been received from the public. The police department has done a background check on the applicant and has no objection to this license transfer moving forward. If approved tonight, it will be returned to the liquor board tomorrow for final action.
Thank you, Mrs. Adams. Any questions for Mrs. Adams on her staff report?
None.
Any further discussion?
None.
Comments? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous. We now go to item number 4. Mrs. Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that Resolution 2021-077, a Series 12 liquor license application for a new license, interim permit, limited liability, type of ownership for Christopher Yinho Lee on behalf of KYJ Brothers LLC, doing business as Hana Tokyo, located at 1633 South Highway 92, Sierra Vista, be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mrs. Adams, may we have the staff report, please?
Mayor Mueller, members of council, this is an application for a new Series 12 liquor license. Unlike the previous item, restaurant liquor licenses are non-transferable. So if ownership of an operation changes, they have to get their own liquor license. And that's why this is a new license as opposed to a transfer. As with the other, the notice of this public hearing was posted on the premise, and we have heard nothing from the public, pro or con. The police department has done a background check and does not object to this moving forward, and if approved tonight, it will be returned to the state for final action.
Thank you, Mrs. Adams. This is, again, a public hearing item. If there's anyone here that would like to address this, please let me know. I've received nothing in writing making the request. I see nobody motioning vigorously for me to call to the podium. So I'll close this item to public hearing and go to council. Any comments, questions, discussion from the council on this item?
It was just interesting to have a couple of liquor licenses in a row. I didn't realize the different types, how many types there were. So it was interesting this week to kind of look into that a little bit. So that was interesting.
That's what they call government.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'll call, if there's no further discussion, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you very much. We'll now move to item number 6, Councilwoman Humphrey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that Resolution 2021-078, amending City Code Chapter 30 and declaring a 30-day public record, be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mrs. Adams.
Mayor Mueller, members of council, because we're going through the process of updating your policy and procedure guidelines, which will be an upcoming item, it was a good time to go through this chapter of the city code because this is the chapter that relates directly to city council and it is noted throughout your guidelines, and some of the changes are in both. So this is an update of the section that is primarily to clean up language, to bring it in conformance with the actual practice and procedures that we're using today. This section, the sections that were updated mostly have not been updated since the late 90s, early 2000s, and so there was a lot of language in it that doesn't even come close to describing how we do business today. So this is mostly housekeeping and making it what it is that you do. The main changes were to talk about meeting notices and the appointment of the mayor pro tem via resolution, as opposed to previous language that was more of a, if a dissent, this is a actual clarification that council wanted that position to be appointed by resolution. So that will be done in the future officially, even though that's how you've always done it. And to take out smoking prohibitions and penalties and such, because that's no longer needed because it's in state law. So if there are any other questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Any other questions? Okay. Again, this is a public hearing item. Is there anyone, if there's anybody that would like to address us on this item, please make yourself known. I've received nothing in writing. I see nobody moving, so I'll close this item to the public. And now all we're doing is anything from the council? No. Okay, so again, this is opening a public comment period for 30 days, and that's what we're approving. So all those in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mrs. Adams. We can now move on to item number 6, Mr. Benning.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that Resolution 2021-079, General Plan Amendment, Land Use Map 1 Designation Alteration from Industrial to Public for parcels 106-61-016, 106-61-002, 106-61-005, 106-61-003, 106-61-004 Alpha be approved.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Fisher, may we have the staff report, please?
Good evening, Mayor Mueller, members of council. Today we have a staff-initiated minor general plan amendment proposal to change the land use designation of Sears Center Park from industrial to public. For background as to why this is being proposed, the city is applying for the use of federal community development block grant funds to carry out planned parking and access improvements to serve the growing needs of Sears Center Park. During the application process, staff determined that the 5 subject properties that make up Sears Center Park had industrial land use and zoning designations, which is inconsistent with its current and master planned use by the city as a park. In order to eliminate this inconsistency and demonstrate conforming land use through the grant application process, staff is proposing an edit of Map 1 in the land use section of the general plan on page 20. This is how it appears today if you were to look into the Vista 2030. As you can see, well, it's a little bit blurry, but this pink, you see where Sears Center Park is, this represents industrial designated land. The amendment would replace this map image with this map image, which would turn that into the gray, which corresponds to a public designation, which is the corresponding designation that we have for other parks throughout the city. This edit is required before any rezonings can be done on the property, as they are also inconsistently zoned. Parks are not permitted in industrial zoning districts. During public outreach, staff received no comments regarding the proposed general plan amendment or the rezoning, and the Planning and Zoning Commission approved both the general plan amendment and the rezoning unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Any questions for Mr. Fisher on the rezoning? Again, this is basically cleaning up some action that we didn't address at the appropriate time, so we'll watch that in the future. Any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Fisher. We now go to new business. I'm sorry, this was a public hearing item too. Is there anybody in the public that wishes to address us on this item? Okay, thank you. Now move to new business, item number 7. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that ordinance 2021-009, rezoning of assessor parcel numbers 106-61-016 from heavy industrial to open space, assessor parcel number 106-61-002 and 106-61-003 from industrial park to open space, and assessor parcel number 106-61-005 and assessor parcel number 106-61-004A from light industrial to open space be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Fisher, may we have the staff report, please?
Certainly. This is the second part of what I mentioned in the previous presentation, that in order for the rezoning to be approved, to convert these from their industrial zoning designations to the corresponding open space, which is the correct zoning for the parks throughout the city, first the general plan amendment would need to have been approved. But yes, everything has pretty much already said. Okay. Thank you.
Questions for Mr. Fisher? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you very much, and I'm sure the folks on the west side thank you as well. Thank you, Mr. Fisher. We now move on to item number 8. Dr. Landry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that Resolution 2021-080, proposed expansion to the West Sierra Vista redevelopment area, be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. McLaughlin, may we have the staff report, please?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, good evening. As the mayor mentioned, earlier today to a room full of realtors. The West End not only has historic significance, but also greatly contributes to our civic identity as a gateway district to our community. It's our downtown, and we're soon going to have a walkable Main Street that's accessible to everyone. Public-private partnerships are a proven effective tool and approach to community and economic development, and your approval today will help us expand our reach to form new partnerships on the West End. So this represents the second expansion to the redevelopment area boundary. In 2017, the council designated a 23-acre area along West Fry Boulevard, then added 29 acres the following year. The resolution before you expands the redevelopment area to include all commercially zoned properties west of North 5th Street, which covers 162 parcels and 111 acres of property. This designation requires the council to make a finding of necessity by 2/3 vote. The study documenting the conditions in the proposed expansion area was carried out by Stantec, who's the county's EPA brownfield consultant. The report provides an objective analysis following the statutory criteria used to define what constitutes a blighted area. The data was collected using secondary sources and analyzed using GIS to arrive at the conclusions that are found on page 34. Factors that were looked at include building age, condition, parcel size and shape, pedestrian vehicular access, sewer availability, floodplain, and vacancy status. The study finds that a significant number of parcels are vacant or underutilized and have potential to support new community-serving uses such as housing, retail, and entertainment spaces. There are also some gaps in infrastructure that need to be considered during the redevelopment area planning process. Over 90% of the expansion area parcels exhibit one or more of the pertinent factors that were evaluated through the criteria. The findings were presented at a properly noticed public meeting on October 27th. The meeting was well attended by property owners. We also spoke with multiple interested parties ahead of the meeting, some of whom provided letters of support that are included in your packet. We went over the elements of the West Sierra Vista Partnership Program, how it's administered, and answered questions. There was acknowledgement on the need for further city involvement on revitalizing the West End and carrying out additional capital projects. As was mentioned at the work session, there was a call for property owners to step up their maintenance and band together on the West End to be a more vibrant part of the community by better coordinating business hours and leaving their lights on later into the night. The owner of Street Taco shared his experience on the West Sierra Vista Partnership Program, how beneficial the grant was to relocating his business to South Carmichael to fill a longstanding vacancy there. Approval of this resolution fulfills a council objective to expand the redevelopment area and West Sierra Vista Partnership Program as appropriate. Once approved, we'll immediately begin work on the required update to the redevelopment area plan to address the expansion area. And with that, I'll answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. McLaughlin. Questions for Mr. McLaughlin?
Just a comment.
Comments?
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, as I had mentioned in the work session, I really love the study and the breakdown and the analysis that was done. It really shows, how great this is and how needed it is. And I think it's gonna be a great way to provide more opportunities to those in the area and to beautify our city and to meet a lot of the different goals. And I'm really hopeful that a lot of the property owners will see this and kind of get the ball rolling and get things going in momentum to really make things great. So I'm excited about it.
Mr. Benny.
I just want to thank Matt and his team and the rest of the staff. I remember 4.5 years ago when this was first introduced and first brought up, let's do this redevelopment area. There was a lot of pushback. I remember meetings we had at the Horn Toad, and and seeing the change in what's happening. Now we have businesses coming to us. They want to be a part of it. They're doing their part. We have people going from food trucks to smaller businesses now to bigger businesses. Like Jay's is moving into the old I forget what the building used to be called.
It was a Peacock, it was a buffet.
Yeah, the old Peacock and stuff. Just watching the growth in the last 4 years, 4.5 years in the West End is, I mean, it's amazing. And I think the same for those people that we get the comments about with the West End redevelopment, the street and everything going on down there. I think it's the same thing's going to happen. So I just want to let people know, wait and see. Give it a year after it's done. Let's see where we're going, where we want. This is the change people have been asking for. So I'm real proud to be a part of it. And I'm proud watching y'all do your job. So thank you so much.
I just wanted to say, the term blight isn't taken well by some people, right?
Yeah.
And we're not by any means saying that the whole West End is blight, and that's why this happened, right? There's obviously some blight areas, some blight buildings, but the West End is a great place. There's some beautiful homes. A lot of people take care of their property. Unfortunately, there is some property that has not been taken care of for a long time, and that's why these changes needed to happen. But by no means is anybody ever said the whole West End is a blight, right? Because I think that gets misconstrued in media and things like that. So I just wanted to say that.
Good comment. I just wanted to mention something too, that it's not just a 4-year project. This is the continuance of a 20-year effort to work on the west side, to include the Fried Town side area. And as we work through the statutory requirements, which require us to declare things blight, to be able to assist, we had to work through that. That's why the one meeting that Councilman Benning mentioned was critical, because everybody was concerned about the labeling.
Right.
And we had to work with the realtors and the owners to get through that. But bottom line, for the last several years, I'll say decades, there has not been investment in there, and we've had additional ADA requirements for safety, requirements for fire, requirements for upgrading electrics so that they can handle electronics in those places. So there are a lot of issues that are trying to be resolved business by business, and that takes some time. So it won't necessarily be a year from now. It'll probably be a couple of years from now where we'll look back and say, what else do we need to do to make sure that that area is able to maintain itself without additional government help.
Right.
Okay. So, any other discussion or comments? All right, seeing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you very much. Thank you for all your good work, Matt. I know you and your department have been really hustling on getting this done, so we appreciate that.
Pass it along.
All right, item number 9, Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that resolution 2021-081, council policy and procedure manual be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mrs. Adams, may we have the staff report, please?
Mayor Mueller, members of council, as we have discussed at a couple of work sessions in the last few months, it was well past time that this policy and procedure guideline was pulled out, dusted off, and updated for you all. For the most part, there was not a lot of changes made. We did insert some new sections, primarily participation in meetings by electronic means, use of personal electronic equipment. We inserted a social media policy for council, and we updated the board and commission description section to reflect the changes that you made back a couple of years ago with the swap of the non-regulatory versus regulatory commissions. We have gone through them. We did include a requirement for new council members to attend mandatory open meeting law training at the beginning of or around the beginning of their terms. And these were all discussed and thoroughly vetted by you at the work sessions, and if approved tonight, we will go through it, make sure all the links to all the statutory references, all of the code references, everything will be cleaned up, and it will be posted on the city website as a final product.
Thank you, Mrs. Adams. Questions or discussion from anybody? Comment?
I just want to thank Mayor Pro Tem Rachel Gray for taking a stab at the social media policy. I know we've been asking for a while. We've been asking the League of Cities to come up with something for a while. So I appreciate her taking the time to sit down and trying to come up with something for us in the meantime until there's more from the state and higher. But that was really nice. I appreciate it. And that's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And I just want to make the comment for the folks out there that may not understand. Our friends in the legislature over the last couple of years have made specific requirements dealing with social media with elected officials and those kind of things, and they're basically set up for transparency. So it's absolutely critical when we get a new council member or a crusty old council member like me, and they've changed something, we need to be educated on what those things are so we don't get into legal wrangling with either our attorney or somebody else's attorney, which would tend to cost us more money than we want to spend. So with that, if there's no other further comments, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you very much. Finally, item number 10, Mrs. Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that Resolution 2021-082, proceedings of the Industrial Development Authority of the City of Sierra Vista regarding the issuance of its charter school refunding and revenue bonds, harvest preparatory, thank you, Academy project, and declaring an emergency be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, and who's going to start first, Mr. Morrow, Mr.? Okay, we'll hear from the attorney. That's good. Frank, I appreciate you being here today.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, as you know, the Sierra Vista IDA previously approved its resolution. So this is a resolution brought to you right now to approve the proceedings and to allow the issuance of those bonds. This is a charter school revenue bond issue. As previously indicated, the Sierra Vista IDA does not have any financial obligation with regard to its general credit, nor does the city have any obligation with regards to its credit on any bond issue that is issued by the Sierra Vista IDA. The charter school in this case is a nonprofit charter school. It is looking to refinance an existing bond issue and add additional debt to cover its administrative building. As you may know, all charter schools are approved by the Arizona State Charter School Board. So I'm happy to answer any further questions you might have. This is a bank financing, unlike the second item, and so therefore it is more reflective of a commercial loan transaction between the bank and the Industrial Development Authority and the school.
Questions? Comments? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you very much. And we now move on to item 11 again. Mayor Pro Tem Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that Resolution 2021-083, proceedings of the Industrial Development Authority of the City of Sierra Vista regarding the issuance of its education facility revenue bonds, Amera Schools Academy project, and declaring an emergency be approved.
Second.
It's moved to the second. Mr. Selena?
Slania.
Okay. Sir?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this again is also a charter school transaction. In this case, it has not previously had debt. They are currently leasing the facilities, the 3 facilities that they are in, and they're looking to acquire them. Once again, it is a nonprofit charter school that is looking to acquire this. This, however, is going to be a public offering, which means they are going through Robert W. Baird as the underwriter. It will be available to members of the public in a denomination of $25,000 or more, and therefore there will be an offering document associated with that transaction. Happy to answer any other questions.
Thank you, sir. Ma'am?
If you did say it and I missed it, I apologize, but just for the public's sake, why we're saying we're declaring an emergency is so that it can.
Yes, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem Gray, the declaring an emergency is a way to deal with the statutory requirement that this be immediately effective as opposed to making it available only effective after a 30-day period. Again, that's an Arizona statute. It requires that there be this window unless you have a declaration of emergency and making it immediately available.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Just a public comment, like you said, just for the public awareness. When things come across like this, you're not familiar with what the IDA does. It's kind of scary when you see something not to exceed 20 million for the Yuma one, or not to exceed 11 million for the second one, for the AmeriSchools. But just to make it clear, it's not city money. It's not. We're not. Well, the first question is always asked by one of the council members is, "Are we liable? Is the city liable for any of the default things like that?" And that's always talked about in our work session already on Tuesday. But just wanted to make that clear that it's not us lending anybody money from the city, so nobody in the city is responsible for that.
Correct.
Okay. Responsible to pay it back.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Morrow and Mr. Slinian. Appreciate you making the effort today to get down here. We'll next move to the call of the public. I'll open the meeting to the public. I've received no notices that anybody to come speak to address us. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to address us? Not seeing anyone. I'll close the meeting to the public. We now move to comments and requests of council. We'll start tonight with Mr. Benning.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I want to thank all the people that came out, participated in the Veterans Day Parade. It was amazing. Everyone looked good. And another thank you for all those people that put on the uniform and protect us every day. So thank you for that. I wrote something. I have to read. I'm sorry. And all I want to say is I had to read that one. Have a safe, happy, and blessed Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Mr. Benning. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I mirror William Benning's comments about the Veterans Day Parade. It was really great to have it back. A lot of patriotism, a lot of fun. It was very inspirational, and I think the community took well to it. My second item is I want to congratulate the Police Academy class of 2021-2 that had 16 graduates today. To tell you how rigorous the training is, there were 26 people that started the class. Isn't that correct?
That's great.
And 16 passed muster. Now, we have 4 coming on our? 5, excuse me, okay. So I'm very pleased with that. Dr. Rottweiler in Cochise County has done a great job getting that academy up and running. And I think that's the 6th or 7th class we put out of there so far.
6th.
Additionally, I want to give a shout out to Public Works. I'm part of a small homeowners association. We have a wash right behind our San Cristobal Street, and some of the people were a little concerned about getting the wash cleared, and they mowed it beautifully in the middle, but up against the various properties it was still there. Well, that was all squared away this week. The guys came in with their trucks and cleared everything out, so we're not going to be in any harm's way if we have a brush fire or anything of that nature. So I just give a shout out to Public Works. I don't think they get enough credit here. That's all I have.
Yeah, they do a very good job, and that's one of the things we've experienced this year, so the public knows, is with all the rains, we've had a little extra vegetation coming up, and we really appreciate it when you can maintain your own property and you know where your property lines are, because technically, if it's on your property, it's your job. If it's in the city right away, it's our job. If it's in the county, it's their job. And some people get a little irritated when city crews won't work in the county for some reason. I don't understand that, but that happens. So if you've got issues, let us know, and if you're in the city, we can certainly help out. We'll now go on to Dr. Landry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just wanted to thank Mr. Slania and Mr. Mora for being here, being available to answer questions and break things down. The IDA is kind of difficult to wrap your head around, but so I really appreciate you, answering our questions and stuff. And Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays. I love it. And I just wanted to let you guys know that next Thursday, the 25th, there is a turkey trot. It's a 5K and also a kids 2K on Fort Huachuca. Registration goes until the 22nd at close of business. Starts at 7 o'clock in the morning. You can go to raceentry.com to sign up. It's $10 for adults, $5 for youth, and then 0 to 11 is free. So that's a great way to start your day and get ready to fill up your tummy later on with some good food and family time. And then also, it's a difficult time of year. The holidays are coming up, so there's people that maybe have lost loved ones. Maybe they don't have their family near to them. So just, be cognizant of that. Reach out to anybody that you maybe if you're at work or people that you know. Maybe invite them to come hang out with you, or just be there for them, because it is a difficult time for many this time of year. And with that, have a very happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Dr. Landry. Mr. Rodriguez.
All right, thank you. Same thing, have a great holiday, whichever holiday you observe during these times. Have a good, safe one. Remember those that are less fortunate, right? If you have some leftovers, go share them. If you're not going to eat them, don't let them sit in your fridge all month, right? Go share those with somebody else who's not going to have a good meal. And remember those that are deployed or away from their families at this time. I've been there myself, so just think about those people that can't be home for that, all right? I want to congratulate Sierra Vista Elite Cheer. They're going to be competing this weekend in Anaheim, California, so I'll be making the drive to go support my daughter.
Yeah.
It's good to see the construction around the city. Station 4 out there on BST and 7th Street. People still ask what's going on there. That is the fire station, number 4, coming up, or EMS station, sorry, that is being built. Tombstone Brewery construction going on Garden Avenue, right, next to the hotel. So that's good to see that stuff, our city growing like that. November birthdays, my kids, my mom more especially, coming up November 20th, I want to say happy birthday to my mother. And also, I talked to the chief Thrasher the other day, and things like this are really good. You mentioned the police academy, but the military has a skill bridge program, right, when you're retiring or ETSing. So through the Soldier for Life SFL TAP, and we have hopefully one of those programs will be going through for a local soldier that'll be transferring over to be a police officer. And basically the way it works is it's open to a lot of businesses and companies and organizations out there where the soldier will use their last year or so working at a whatever business it is, or to become a police officer in this case. So they'll still get their paycheck from the Army. So whoever's going to hire them doesn't have to pay them for that year, basically. So it's a good win-win for anybody. Definitely something to look into, and I hope more businesses look into it. That's it. Thank you, Mayor.
And that's a great program. Get some quality folks. Ms. Humphrey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and also the Sunday evening after Thanksgiving is the first night of Hanukkah, so for those who celebrate, happy Hanukkah, and that's it.
Thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just have a few things. Just as a, for your information thing, tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, the Redistricting Advisory Committee will be voting on what to recommend to the Board of Supervisors as far as redistricting is concerned. So, and then the Board of Supervisors votes on the 30th. And I also, right before I walked in the building, was on the phone with our area representative from the Arizona Department of Transportation, and I'm super happy to share that the $10.6 million that we've all been wondering if it was going to go in front of the fort, where it was going to go, it is going in where Fry's and Target in that area, the worst part, as far as they can stretch it, he said. He doesn't know if that's 4 miles, 3 miles, or 2 miles. He asked me to give him a couple of weeks. But the important thing is they are improving State Route 90 there in that Fry's Target area. So very, very happy about that. Also, I think for the next little while, it started at 5. We have business at Twilight tonight. It's at the U of A College of Science and Technology. Speaking of Tombstone Brewery, they are going to be having samples there. So if you can get over there, that would be great. Also, I'd like to say congratulations to Councilmember Humphrey. She just graduated from the Citizens Police Academy. So, and if we can circulate the public video of her wearing the drunk goggles, that would be amazing.
I'll hold on to it.
We're on it. Thank you. Judy, get on that. And then just lastly, happy Thanksgiving. And I will not be having any leftovers because my son is bringing 8 soldiers to my house with him. So I think it'll all be gone. And that's it.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Gray. I do have a couple of things. First, on Saturday, the 20th at 9 o'clock at the Salvation Army, they're having their Red Kettle Kickoff. This is the big event where you need to call, make a reservation, but basically it's to kick off the red kettles and the bell ringing, and it's just to remind everybody, the overwhelming majority of the money that's used to run the Salvation Army comes from the kettles. Okay, they don't really get any outside funds, so we need to make sure that we contribute. We need to volunteer to go ring bells and do those kind of things. There was also an issue earlier within the last couple of months that's been resolved. There was a question about availability of turkeys and where to store them and those kind of things. That's all been worked out, so they will be feeding Thanksgiving down at the building on Wilcox Drive. Sorry, had a senior moment there. On Wilcox Drive, and they plan on giving everybody who comes a take home meal as well. So please take advantage of that if you're so inclined, and if you want to help out, they'll be more than happy to get a couple extra helping hands. So that's the best way to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody, is to help your neighbor. And if you're traveling, please be safe. Don't leave late and expect to get there early, and watch yourself on the road, because there'll be other people that aren't paying as much attention as you are. On Friday, well, happy Hanukkah too. I just want to mention that as well. But on Friday, the 3rd of November at twilight in the Veterans Memorial Park is the lighting of the community holiday tree. And the next night on the 4th is the Christmas parade sponsored by our local Chamber of Commerce. So those are two big events that are coming up before we meet the next time. And with that, is there anything else to discuss for council? Seeing nothing else to discuss, meeting's adjourned. Thank you for your attention.